Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope you all are safe, healthy, and happy. So, for today, I have planned that we'll be doing all the exemptions which are mentioned in chapter 1 of this book, that is appointment and qualifications of directors. As we all know, there are a lot of exemptions which have been provided in different sections. So for example, in section 149 subsection 1, that is maximum number of directors that can be there in a a company, that also has exemption, that government company and a section 8 company may not be required to comply with the maximum number of directors requirement, that is they can have more than 15 directors as their number of directors. So these type of exemptions are given in multiple sections, so I thought why not consolidate them so that it will help us to recall them, remember them easily. So I have just prepared this sheet, and you can hear to this video a lot of times, multiple times, so that you are able to recall them, you are able to remember them. Okay, so also whenever you are solving your questions, just go through these consolidated exemptions once and then try to solve the questions, because this will help you to identify which question is making you confused about what exemption has been provided in particular section, and whether this section would be applicable to so and so company or not. So for that, you must be aware about the exemptions, you must remember the exemptions which have been provided. So today we'll be covering all of them, and for this PDF you can get this PDF from the description box below. I have linked them up. Okay, so let's start with the first exemption. And yes, for the common point, I would like to mention that I have mentioned the common point, that is the compliance of section 137 and section 92 in the third column. I have mentioned it in the heading column, it's only because it is common for all. So every company which has been provided an exemption under so and so section needs to comply with section 137 and 92. That is a must. Okay, that is common for all. So let's start with the individual sections one by one. So the first section is section 149 subsection 1, which says maximum number of directors, कि maximum number of directors कितने हो सकते हैं in a company. So for a company, 15 directors is the maximum limit. If the company wants to increase that limit, that is, if the company wants to increase the number from 15 to 18, 20 or etc., then in that case it needs to amend the articles of association, it needs to alter the articles of association by passing a special resolution, and then for increasing that limit also it needs to pass the special resolution, right? If you remember the section 149 subsection 1, so this was written in the section, but there was an exemption box also given which said that for a government company and a section 8 company, there is no requirement for maximum number of directors, which means a company which is a government company or a section 8 company can have more than 15 directors in their company. There is no such requirement that there can be only maximum 15 directors, and for increasing that 15 also you need to amend your articles of association, and then you have to pass the special resolution to increase that number. No, for government company, section 8 company, there is no such requirement. If you remember this, if you don't, just go through the video once again or read the provision yourself once again. Okay, next section is about section 152 subsection 5. Now 152 subsection 5 was about the furnishing of consent to act as a director. So for furnishing the consent to act as a director, the director needs to give this consent while he is getting appointed. So this has to be submitted on or before the appointment, right? So this exemption was also given for a government company, section 8 company. In case of a government company, section 8 company, the director does not require to furnish the consent of the to act as a director in that company. Okay, so let's jump on to third one. Third one is section 152 subsection 6. and section 152 subsection 7. Now what does section 152 subsection talks about? It says retirement by rotation. If you remember the provisions, just try to recall by this that retirement by rotation, section 152 subsection 6 and section 152 subsection 7 was for the deemed reappointment of the retiring director. That means if in a meeting the retiring director the new director has to be appointed in place of the retiring director, but since in the meeting and in the adjourned meeting also there was no appointment of a new director in place of the retiring director, so it is deemed that the retiring director is reappointed subject to the exceptions which were mentioned in the section. So this was section 152 subsection 7, right? I hope you all remember this. So in these two particular sections there was exemptions given. There were exemptions given to unlisted government company and the subsidiary of such unlisted government company. So unlisted government company and the subsidiary of such unlisted government company is exempted from these provisions of section 152 subsection 6. That is, there is no requirement for retirement by rotation of any director, and since there is no applicability for section 152 subsection 6, which implies that 152 subsection 7 will also not apply to that company, right? Let's come to fourth point, that is section 160. Now what was section 160? Section 160 was about right of persons other than retiring directors to stand for directorship. Whenever a director needs to be appointed in a company and the director wants to give his intent that he wants to be appointed in a company, or some other member of the company gives on behalf of that director a recommendation that this person can be eligible for appointment as a director. So in that particular case we read some exemptions. What were the exemptions? The exemptions were were for the section 8 company, private company, government company and subsidiary of such government company. For section 8 companies it was mentioned that the election is taking place by ballot, that is why they are exempt from this requirement, or private companies there, government companies there, or government company की subsidiary company. So subsidiary of the such government company, private company, government company and section 8 company where elections are taking place by ballot. So for these companies there was exemption to comply with section 160. Okay, so let's move on to the next section. Next section is section 162. 162 was about appointment of directors to be voted individually, right? So 162 says ki for appointment of 2 directors or more than 2 directors, you need to pass separate resolutions. Separate voting should be there for each director. Separate resolutions should be passed subject to exception that you have taken the prior approval. ठीक है, prior approval, unanimous resolution has been passed for such proposed appointment that more than 2 directors will be appointed by a single resolution. If that has been done, then it is okay. You can comply with section 162 and appoint more than 2 persons by a single resolution, but if it is not done, you cannot appoint so, right? I hope you are able to recall this as well. Section 162, appointment of directors to be voted individually. We all know that for a director to be appointed in a company, there is a requirement that for each director, single resolution, one resolution for each director needs to be passed, but there is an exception to this. If you don't remember the section, just go and read the section once again, or you may refer to the videos as also which have been mentioned in the playlist. Right, now what were the exemptions to the section? So the exemption was given to the private company, the government company and the subsidiary of such government company. So 3 exemptions are there: private company, government company and subsidiary of such government company. Okay. Next, section 163. Section 163 was related to proportional representation. For this, government company and subsidiary of the government company has been given exemption to this. So government company and subsidiary of such government company, I have not covered this section in the videos. If you want me to have this also covered, do let me know about this. I thought this is not so important, so I did not cover this. If you feel this is required, I will upload that also. Okay, next section, section 164 subsection 2. 164 subsection 2 is related to disqualification. This is one of the famous sections. We all remember this section also. 164 and 167, these are most popular sections, right? So 164 subsection 2 was for disqualification also with respect to financial statements, and if there is a default, and the default is with regard to the declaration of dividend, but the declaration of dividend has been done and the payment of dividend has not been done, and 1 year or more has been passed from such date. Okay, और deposits पे भी था इसमें कि deposits, interest, debentures, इन पर आपको क्या पे करना था, interest पे करना था या इनकी repayment करनी थी. You have not done so, and 1 year or more has passed from that date, from the date, due date on which it was required to be paid, या फिर financial statements have not been filed for 3 consecutive financial years. So that also was there in section 164 subsection 2, right? For the directors were disqualified on the basis of these 2 things. So in that case, a government company is exempt. Government company does not provide disqualification in this regard, right? Next section is section 165 subsection 1. What does it say? Maximum number of directorships. If you remember, there were directorships limit, that 20 total directorships can be there, out of which 10 in the public companies, right? So these directorships includes the alternate directorships as well. If you remember the section, this was written in there. So for section 8 company and the dormant company, there is no such requirement. That means if a director is appointed in a section 8 company dormant company, that section 8 company dormant company would not be included in the limit of that 20 companies. Okay, so a director can be appointed as a director in section 8 company dormant company irrespective of the number of directorships. There is no limit to it, there is no end to it. In as many companies as you want, you can take the directorship in section 8 company and the dormant company. Okay, so next is section 149 subsection 6c. This was about pecuniary relationship. Independent director के case में we read this. So this requirement need not be fulfilled in case of a government company. If a government company is there, this requirement need not be fulfilled to appoint the independent director. In this particular section 149 subsection 6, actually we were checking the eligibility for the independent director to be appointed in a company, right? So for a government company, this requirement need not be checked. Next, section 8 company is totally exempt from complying with the provisions of section 149. That is 149 में there are a lot of sections. 149 में जो भी independent director से related concepts थे, so that particular sections are not applicable to a section 8 company. So section 8 company does not require to appoint the independent directors, so therefore all the provisions relating to the independent directors are irrelevant for that company. Next, section 150. Section 150 is related to data bank, where data of independent directors is maintained. So if a section 8 company is not required to apply the independent directors concept, then it is obvious that it won't be required to comply with section 150 also. So that is the exemption which has been given over here. Next is section 170. Section 170 is regarding the register to be maintained. Which register? Register of directors, KMP and their shareholding. So section 170 is about register of directors and KMP and their shareholding. For this, no register needs to be maintained, or no such compliance with section 170 is required to be done by a government company, right? Next is section 171. For section 171, government company is being exempt. Why? Because since section 170 is not applicable to a government company, so section 171 would obviously not be applicable. Why? Because section 171 is about members' right to inspect. What to inspect? Right to inspect the register which has been maintained under section 170. If there is no register to be maintained, there is no requirement from section 170 to a government company, then obviously section 171 will also not apply to such government company, right? So this way you can cover all the exemptions. Also there is an alternate way. What you can prepare a chart, like if a government company is written, what all exemptions are given to a government company. So you can make it in other way also, like if I say government company So total exemptions are given in which particular sections, you can recall that way also. You can prepare the chart that way also if you want. Particularly if you see, there are exemptions to a government company, section 8 company, and some of the exemptions to a private company, and mostly the exemption is to the government company and section 8 government section 8 company. So this way also you can prepare, whereby you can just write the heading government company and section 8 company and write all the exemptions which have been provided to them in the different sections, right? So this way we have completed all the exemptions from chapter 1. I hope I have not left any of the exemptions out, but still I would request, just go through the chapter 1 and check if there are any exemptions left, because according to me I have covered all, but still there are chances of errors, since humans can commit errors, so there are still chances. But according to me I've covered it all, but still you check it. Okay, so this is all for today, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and bye bye.